Hey everybody, good morning. This is Tony here at our cabin in the woods. Today I'm going to do something just a little bit different. I actually got 2 emails from different parts of our world, down south. 2 different countries, and it's kind of weird that I got them within a day of each other. And they both were asking, why do I have so many different gardens? What was the purpose of it? How does it grow? How do I grow living in the woods and that stuff? So the best way that I can tell you what happened here is start out the property. This is probably going to be maybe like a 30-minute video, but I think it's worth doing it this way. This property here, we live on 10 acres. My property is 660 by 660, the length, foot. And then the next one beside me is 5 acres, and he is 660 length. So where I'm getting at is back about 9 years ago, we had a huge forest fire that was heading this direction. Now, I only bought this property, it's been 6.5 years ago, so this was all woods. But what happened was the owner that owned all this land over here, he was really a, I don't know, just he just worried about his property burning up. So he knew somebody had a bulldozer, so they bulldozed a fire break. And I'll show you how it went. It went from, my property line ends just on the other side of this trailer, right where my gate is. But you can see it goes straight through that direction, okay? So he bulldozed a fire break from here all the way across my property, which I bought, straight across, you know, kind of like where a tractor is. It zigzagged a little bit for some reason, but way back, the furthest trees you can see, way back. On the other side of those trees is a fire break, all the way through. So, like I said, we own this property. We bought this property. It was all woods. I had the bulldozer come on here, and I decided to use this fire break as part of my driveway. Purpose is I didn't want to take down a bunch of trees, so use what was already here. And as you can kind of see through those woods, let me go over here more. You can see how they go straight through, and that's the way it was when I bought this. So there was a fire break. Okay, continuing on, we made this our driveway. And then, because this was all open through here. Now, this was real woodsy. I mean, this was not like this at all. It kind of resembled in here, not the big trees, but the small stuff, all the way through this whole thing. So, what I ended up doing was, of course, we built our home here. What I ended up doing is, instead of going through the woods and tearing down the woods, I decided to make gardens in these areas, in certain areas. Well, I had only one garden, this spot. Okay, it's always been the same size, this garden. It's never changed. But the soil here is very sandy. So what I ended up doing, my very first year that I was here, on this garden, I rented a backhoe, and I just dug all this stuff up because I had massive oak trees that were sitting right in this area, well, off to the right, and the big root systems were underground. I wanted to get that out of here so I can plant. And from there, I just started throwing cow manure in here. Actually, the very first year, I did back to Eden gardening, and I brought in a truckload, one of those big truckloads of wood chips was laid in here. So my first year was back to Eden gardening here. I did do that at my other house. So anyway, after the first year growing, I liked the back to Eden gardening, but we were getting still quite a bit of, we had 2 problems. We had a huge amount of insects, and also weeds. So I started checking into more and just doing my research, and I started realizing the second year I started to grow, I thought maybe I can keep up with stuff and change some things. We had still the same scenario, a lot of weeds and a lot of insects. And the insects would consume, because I did my garden, had everything in here. It's just my wife and I. We were just growing what we wanted, And that was about it. Look at the birds. They're all looking great. They're doing their job out here. And no problems with other birds getting sidetracked. Anyway, so after the second year, I decided to make some changes. The amount of insects we got was crazy, a lot. So I decided I'm breaking my garden up apart a little bit. Did some research, and a lot of insects, if you can contain them, a certain one to a certain plant, they won't be jumping around the other plants, or it was just easier for me to control them, certain insects, certain spots. Squash bugs, they would come in this garden here. I had squash in here, and they just consumed the whole garden. It was crazy. So I made a change. We'll stop with the change, and we'll talk about what I did for my weeds. And my videos I did last year, I've had it for 2 years now. I put a black mat down, and which is the best thing I've ever done. Weeding is none. A weed whack around the edges. That's it. It's helped out 2 ways: insects and my weeding problem. Back now about this garden here. Every year I get. Last year I got 2 tons of cow manure were brought in, and I till it into the ground, and that's what happens with this garden. This year my cow manure source is gone. They sold out. Everything's gone, so I got to find another source. We should be okay. I think I found horse manure, which should be good. We'll be putting here. So this garden here we use for certain grow here. That's all we do. It's certain stuff we put in this garden. All right, let me go to this other garden. We'll continue. Okay, garden 2. I decided to make this my squash and my cucumber trellis garden. Now, before I started, it was only a small trellis garden, and I actually made it Hugelkultur somewhat. It's like halfway point that direction down here. And then I brought in all this compost. You can see there is goat manure in here. All that stuff is what's in this. And I tilled it all in the garden, this part of it here. And so I have been running a trellis garden here for, this is my 3rd year. Oh, another thing, real quick. My first year I did meat birds, I had them in this trellis garden. It wasn't a garden though. The first time around it was just for my meat birds. And that's when I got the idea, hey, let's make this trellis. Meat birds were in here. They fertilized the yard, did really good. So that's what I did. I made this my trellis, and believe it or not, because I separated my stuff from that garden to this garden, the only problem I've had with that garden with insects has been white flies on my tomatoes. I did not get them this past year, but the year before I got hammered with them. I did everything I could do to try to control them. I couldn't. I actually had to go buy a chemical that I don't want to use to kill them, to get rid of them. But that was it. So that has been insect free right there on this garden. This garden here, which is my cantaloupe and my squash, and actually I had cantaloupe, squash, and cucumber. As far as my insects have been, I've actually been very lucky to control them just by plucking them off the leaves. And whenever I found a leaf that had those, you flip it over, had those dark spots, I literally went and clipped that leaf off to get rid of it. I didn't use no insect spray, no nothing on this spot at all. None. We're going to go to my next garden. Next garden is a Hugelkultur garden, is this one. This is my onion garden. Yeah, it's kind of small, but you know what? I can grow in this garden 100 onions a shot right here. I've been doing the last couple of years. This goes down, about a foot deep into the ground. Bunch of wood chips, you name it, everything, sawdust, everything was put in here. Compost, grass, everything's been in here. This garden has been beautiful. This past year, my onions were like softball size. Fantastic. So I've moved my onion garden, kept it here. It's strictly my onion garden, and that's it. I mean, weed production, there's almost nothing in here. I've went in there and picked out a few this past year, and that was it. My fourth garden is my garlic garden, and you can see it there. There's garlic. First year I've really done garlic here. This is also a Hugelkultur garden. This garden here goes down about 1.5 feet deep, and I had a huge logs like thrown in here. Just a lot of good stuff, compost, everything. And you can see about half my garlics come up. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I've got 15 garlic cloves. I'm just trying this for the first time here. And that's Hugelkultur. And I'm telling you, because of where I live in the woods, you all see that, first 2 years, insects were crazy, eating me up bad. Now that I have completely separated my garden, other than the white flies 2 years ago, I have not had to use any kind of chemical, anything to try to kill an insect on here, this property. Nothing. I mean, not even a soap and water. I have been almost 100% insect free, other than this garden here, which is my, I call it my trellis garden, and for all my stuff that wants to travel around. And I'm even thinking about making this one more size bigger. One more length bigger, I should say, which is 4 feet. This here is 1, 2, 3, 4. I think these are 4 feet. I'll just say, I think they're 4 feet. So that's 16 foot long, I'm guessing. I don't even know. And then I just folded them over, and you can kind of see how I did it. Rolled it over, have T-post, and I'll probably extend it one more going that way. Maybe not, because I got to get my lawnmower in here. I maybe do one more and just cut the woods out a little bit right there. But anyway, this garden has been so perfect, so good. Production this past year, over here, actually last year, my cucumbers I had growing here, I had 52 cucumbers dangling from the trellis. And my trellis was sagging because of the weight. This year I had, I think, 25. We cut my cucumber plant amount down because we had a bunch of cucumbers put up already canned. We didn't need them other than for salads. I'll probably do the same thing again this year. I think last year I put in 8 cucumber plants, and I'll probably cut them back to 4 because we just don't need to can cucumbers. We got a bunch of them still. There's probably 40 jars that's in there right now. So I'm not going to show you Garden 5 because I'm in the process of making it right now. Garden 5 is another, it will be my big Hugelkultur garden. I will guess that it's probably every bit of 30 feet long, 40 feet long. I didn't even measure it, even though I staked it out when I did it, by 16 feet. It was dug down somewhere around 18 inches deep. And you've seen a big wood pile I had over here, many videos I've showed you, and whatever else I've been finding in the woods, and I've been throwing in the hole full of wood. I'm not going to get too much more into it because there's a video coming out with that, what's going on. But all the wood is in there, and actually I found some more wood I want to put in there too. But anyway, get off the track. So guys, the reason why I changed up my garden to different areas is because of insects, is what it boils down to. It worked. I don't use no chemicals. I don't have an issue. Some people don't have issues, and may that be because, excuse me, where you live. I don't know, but we have them here. I mean, our temperatures in the summer can be 100 and 105 for a month straight. Be very hot. And, you know, high 90s all the time. It's not like Australia and all them. I mean, they get 115 degrees all summer long. I mean, we're not like that here, but still, and I live in Oklahoma. It was, to me, it was more feasible once I realized I was able to control the insects, but moving them over here to this, and I had no insects there except for the white flies, and that's 2 years ago. Nothing last year. I think it's win-win. I learned, I liked it. I was able to put more gardening stuff I wanted to put over here in the first garden, garden 1. Actually, if you want to see what my gardens kind of look like, that second, the big pile, I did a YouTube video for Shed Wars 21. Oh, I shouldn't have said the word, I don't think. Anyway, you can see my entry video, and you can see how I point to the gardens and where they're at and what's going on. So check out my Shed Wars intro for trying to get into Shed Wars this year in 2021. You can see kind of the big wood pile I had and the dirt and everything. But once I realized that, then I decided onion I was going to move separately too, and it's worked. The amount of onions, actually my first year, the first time I did onions, I had 158 onions the first time, and I realized that that was too many onions because I couldn't use them up. Guys, when you plant something, plant what you're going to use before it rots and goes bad. So what I'm going to do this year is, I've never done it before. There's Miss Happy. Oop, I don't want to go no more that way because you'll see my other garden. But you can see I have been busy with the tractor. That's all I'm going to tell you. You're going to have to figure it out when you see the video. But being able, I can't remember what I was talking about, but being able to control our bugs, or, oh, I know, grow what you're going to use. My onion garden this year, like I did this past year, I grew 100, and that worked good. I lost probably 8 onions total out of the 100 because they just plain rotted, no good after. And I got a feeling that some of that is because I didn't let them set long enough to cure. But what I'm going to do is I will have two. I'm going to do two. I'm going to do a spring and I'm going to do a fall onion. And so that's what I'm going to do for that. And you'll see that this year too. The spring will be going in here. Probably, my guess, I'll plant the onions for the spring. Maybe as soon as I get them. Right now it's been very cold here. That's why I've got my hoodie on. This morning is about 28 degrees. And it's supposed to get the high today like 35, I think. But anyway, the purpose of this was to show people how come I put my garden where they were, why they're separated, and doing the back to Eden garden in a way, but it's Hugelkultur. And that's kind of weird how I thought about it, and then I started checking into it, and I found Hugelkultur on the internet. And I thought that was pretty cool. So, let me turn this way. Arms are getting tired. I like it. My first garden, I told you I put all that wood chips in there. On year 3, I had more wood chips brought in, a half a load, and then I used a rototiller and I ground them into the ground. And then that's when I started using a black mat. See, year 3. I can't keep track, but my wood chips were ground in there. I had a lot of them. So that soil is awesome soil, guys. This one here is too, as you can see. I'm being very careful so you don't see that direction. And then, of course, for a second, I thought that was a snake. I jumped. Not the stick, but the skinny thing. Anyway, so there's the garlic. And these both are, like I said, you see I threw wood chips in there, wood shavings and everything, and spun them just a little bit, and I'll be going through that. I've just been letting things sit. Alright guys, let me go back to garden 1. Alright. Try not to show you this over here. You can see how high up this garden is compared to the rest, how it was. That's how much soil, how much stuff I've brought in. And everything's been free. All of it was free. As far as, compost, compost last year. Man, did I pay for compost eventually? I don't think I did. I think I traded the guy. But you can see a difference on how high up this is. You can see it over there too. Birds are doing great. One of my CDs fell down, broke the line. I need to fix that. Look at the birds. They look great. They're in here doing great. All of them are. Hello, Happy. She's been doing really good with the birds. One time or another I thought I'd have a problem with her because she is a hunter, but she's not messed with these birds at all. In fact, I've seen her inside the garden many times, just sitting there laying down with them. So guys, that's kind of my story. I hope I did a good job telling you why I did it. So garden 1's here, garden 2, garden 3, garden 4, garden 5's over there. And garden 5 will probably have to have this fence around it also, just because of the deer we have. And I'm not too sure. It probably will have to have it and keep it up high. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's the story, and I'm sticking to it. It's an old joke. And that's it. Well, you guys have a great day, and appreciate you from down under sending me an email on it and questioning. I mean, that was pretty cool, and you guys noticed. And anybody else ever have any questions, you can message me on the messenger, or you can see my email. It's on the about section or in description. I have it. And also I got a post office box in the that's in my description. So y'all have a great day, and I appreciate y'all watching my channel. It's great. I see my screen's pretty dirty. I just noticed it. Anyway, thanks again, everybody. Y'all have a great day. Stay warm. My hands are frozen. And we'll all talk to you later. All right. Thanks again. Bye.